All right, in this example here, I tried to make a lot of stuff be going on here so we get a bunch of different looks. And the first thing that we need to do is tackle the physique. Now the physique is going to be controlled by that -3. It's negative, so we know it's going to be flipped, okay? So when we say flipped, reflected over the x-axis, and since it's a 3, we know it is going to be more narrow, okay? And we saw that stuff, again, I believe, way back here, okay? So what we're looking at is, now we got that under control, we're going to find the period. All right, so we have pi divided by this guy right here, which is going to be pi divided by 3. 3. And so therefore, that is going to give me just 3. Okay? So the period is going to be 3, and so let's set up those asymptotes again. Is that we have this guy right here, and 3 is right here, and right in the center is going to be 1.5. Now, just a note, no matter if it's flipped or narrow or wide or regular, doesn't matter. Unless you shift it vertically, it's always going to be, the x-intercept's always going to be in between the two asymptotes. And so, just a quality of life observation. So you don't got to worry about weird things happening there. It's going to be all symmetrical. All right. So the phase shift is going to be, let's look over here, C divided by B, and we know we're going in the right direction. So I would have pi over 4 divided by pi over 3, and at the end of the day, we're going to get 3/4. Okay? And so that means is that we're going to the right 3/4. And so 3/4 is going to, since it looks like we have all decimals set up, 3/4 is going to be, let's see, 0.75, right? So just making that distinction before we start moving stuff around. So to the right we go, and it looks like it's going to be right there in between the 0.5 and 1. Okay, and it is going to jump a space and a half here, the x-intercept, and this is going to jump a space and a half here. Okay, and from this point, once we got that all set up, we can get rid of the stuff that we started off with here, and we are going to, all right, we're in business. So again, we got that really nice part right that we could build on in a systematic way, which is what we're looking for in this first part. The vertical shift, again, there's nothing going on back there, so there's going to be none. Okay, x-intercepts. So the first positive x-intercept, it looks like it's going to be right here, and that is going to be at 2.25. Okay, so we got 2.25 plus, and then it's just going to be the period that is going to be in between those. And I forgot to fill out the rest of this stuff, so let me do that right quick. Okay, that's better. And we have this distance of 3 in between here. Okay, and that's basically what we're looking at, because it's going to be 3 units in between each one of those. And so to put that into a package here, I'm going to get rid of those guys, is going to be plus 3n, where n is an integer, okay, and comma 0, comma 0. And that takes care of the x-intercepts. And the y-intercept is going to be, then, let's plug in that 0 and see where that takes us. So I got f0 equals a -3 cotangent of this guy, which is going to go away anyhow, because that's 0, and negative pi over 4. So it looks like the way that this thing is going to go is that if I have a negative 3 times the cotangent of a negative pi over 4, the cotangent of a negative pi over 4 is going to be negative 1. So we'd have negative 3 times a negative 1. So this is going to give me a positive 3. And so I know that I have this guy right here. And I'm just going to duplicate that. What is that, like a space and a half and 3 up? So space and a half and 3 up right here. A space and a half and 3 up. So again, getting a lot of mileage out of that thing. So it's just not, one space. The domain. The domain is going to first breaking the domain at that asymptote is going to be x equals 0.75, and so it's going to be all real numbers except x equals 0.75 plus, again, the distance is going to be 3 between each one of those, so we would go 3n, where n is an integer, okay? And the range is going to be negative infinity to a positive infinity, okay? And from here, we just sketch through everything and make it look as nice as possible. So I'm going to try, and we know that it's going to be a little bit thinner, or narrower rather. So that means is that it's going to take its time getting to the not x-axis, I'm sorry, the asymptotes there. And so, whereas if it were wider, it would book right towards the thing, okay? And this will probably have something flying through like this guy right here, just for good measure. So anyhow, that's how you do that guy. And just need to go ahead and hit the practice a little bit, and then we will take care of any questions in the future. So next videos we're going to do are the two reciprocal functions of sine and cosine, which is cosecant and secant. So I will see you then.